I wonder, why do you listen? Are you truly here to investigate the nature of your own mind, or are you perhaps hoping to hear about something mysterious? It seems there is an immense interest in my particular experiences, as people often ask me about what they have read or heard. They come with questions born from whispers and books, saying, "From what we read, you have had strange and mysterious experiences," and they demand to know, "Is this Kundalini, or is it something even greater?" This word Kundalini has such a pull, doesn't it? In India, it carries an enormous weight, a profound meaning steeped in ancient tradition. They have written countless books about it, and so many claim to have awakened this supposed serpent power. I won't go into all the details because it is so easy to be mesmerized by the word itself, by the promise it holds. It is spoken of as a kind of ultimate release of energy, an inexhaustible fountain that, once awakened, functions completely and totally. But then the logical mind steps in, as it should. The questioner also asks, we read that you consider this process to be an expansion of consciousness. But could it be instead a self-induced, psychosomatic thing, something caused merely by tension? It is a valid question. Could this all be a projection, a pleasurable fantasy born of one's own desires, a reaction to inward strain? And I must ask you, are you interested in this? Of course you are. This is so much more exciting than looking at your own desire, your own envy, your own daily fear. I truly wish we could be simple about all this, but we crave the complex, the hidden, the secret key. We want the fireworks, the expansion, the awakening, the singular event that will validate us and solve all our problems. We see this craving everywhere in your modern world, don't we? People scroll endlessly through their phones looking for that one post, that one guru, that one life hack that will suddenly make their lives meaningful. They collect followers as if collecting allies, hoping that a quantity of approval will somehow create a quality of inner peace. This hunt for the mysterious experience is just another form of consumption, another way to feel secure in a world that offers no lasting security. It is the same fascination that drives the interest in other so-called abilities, like reading people's thoughts. They are experimenting with this, I hear, in various parts of the world. Perhaps the Russian leader can read the American leader's thoughts, or vice versa. If that were to happen, the political game would be over, wouldn't it? And if you could read my thoughts, and I could read yours, imagine that life. It would become terribly complex, rather tiresome, a world with no privacy, no inner sanctuary. They have experimented with this at universities in America, trying to prove telepathy exists, trying to show that thought can control matter. This, too, is part of the old Indian traditions, this idea of siddhis, or special powers. Perhaps I have done some of these things, perhaps not. But I must ask you, with all seriousness, is any of this important? It is like having a good bath. After a long, hot, dusty day, you go and have a good, clean, healthy bath, using a clean towel and good soap. And at the end of it, you are clean. What matters is that you are clean. the experience of the water, the soap, the scrubbing, that is secondary. You must put all this talk of Kundalini, of telepathy, of strange energies at that level. Don't give it this enormous importance because it is not important. I may have been through all this, I may know a great deal about it, but I treat it all as not necessary. It is a distraction from the one thing that matters. There is an energy, an immense energy, which we have misused. We waste it every single day in our fights, in our quarrels, in our endless pretensions. We squander it trying to say my way is better than your way, my country is superior, my God is the only God. We exhaust ourselves claiming, I have reached this platform, I have this knowledge, I have this status. That is what is far more important to inquire into, why human beings behave as they do, why you behave as you do. All this other business, it is triviality. It is an escape. I have discussed this matter with many people, some of whom claim to have had all these awakenings. And you know what happens? A person has one little experience, just a fleeting moment of something different, and immediately they set up shop. You understand what that means? Setting up shop. It means they are in business. That little experience becomes their capital. They become a guru, a teacher, and now they have disciples, and they tell them what to do, what to think, how to live. They collect money, they sit in a particular posture, they adopt a certain robe, all that Tame wrote. And others, in their fear and confusion, flock to them, hoping to buy a piece of that experience. So one has to be terribly, terribly careful of one's own little experiences and even more careful of those who merchandise them. But what is truly important, what is fundamentally important, is to find out sanely, rationally, logically how you waste your energy. Look at the conflict in your own life, the conflict between who you are and who you think you should be. Look at the quarrels, the fear, the loneliness, the endless grinding pretensions. When all that energy, which is currently being wasted in this friction, is not wasted, well, then you have all the energy in the world. As long as your brain is not deteriorating through this constant conflict, through this ambition and strife, through fighting your own loneliness and depression, it has an immaculate capacity. When the brain is free of all that, you have abundant energy. But if you release some kind of little partial energy while still in a state of conflict, you can do an infinite harm to others and to yourself. So I must ask you to please, please do not fall into the trap. It is the oldest trap in human history, set by those who come to you and say, I know, and you do not know. I have the answer, and I will tell you. You see this everywhere, don't you? There are countless centers in America, in Europe, in India, where one or two people are claiming, I have awakened this peculiar energy, I have this special knowledge, and I will teach you. It is the good old game, the game of the authority and the follower. And we play it because we are frightened, because we are lonely, and because we are, frankly, lazy. We would rather be given a system, a method, a guarantee, than undertake the arduous journey of looking at ourselves without any guide, without any comfort. We want to be told what to do, how to meditate, what to believe, We are just like the people who scroll through their feeds looking for a new thought leader, a new influencer to follow, hoping that by imitating their life, we can patch up the emptiness in our own. It all becomes so trivial, so utterly meaningless when you look at the world as it actually is. Man is fighting man, brother against brother. The world is degenerating, disintegrating under the weight of our own tribalism, our own nationalism, our own greed. We are destroying the very earth that sustains us. And in the face of this immense catastrophic suffering, you are sitting here talking about some footling little experience, some personal awakening, some private mystical thrill. This brings us to the last question, and perhaps it is the only question that truly matters. The questioner asks, is not case consciousness put together by thought? The implication, of course, is that my consciousness is just like any other, a product of the mind, and therefore all this talk is just more words. And the answer is yes, yes, of course. My consciousness is put together by thought, just as your consciousness, with all of its content, is the result of the movement of thought. This is not a confession. It is the fundamental fact we must all confront. Your consciousness is not some pure, abstract spiritual entity. Your consciousness is its content. What you are is what you have put inside your mind and what has been put there by your culture, your parents, your education, your religion. And what is that content? Let us look at it together very clearly. It is your fear of not being, your fear of tomorrow, your fear of what your neighbor thinks, your fear of being alone, your fear of death. It is your belief which is the shield you hold up against your fear of the unknown. You believe in God, or you believe in Atman, that comforting idea of a higher self, or you believe in the nation, or you believe in some political theory, because the uncertainty of not knowing is intolerable. Your consciousness is your loneliness, that profound aching sense of isolation that you are constantly running away from, which you try to cover up with entertainment, with social media, with relationships, with the noise of the crowd. It is your anxieties, your sorrows, your endless petty worries about money, about status, about sex, about becoming something. It is your instinct to follow somebody, to have faith in a guru, a priest, a president, an expert, because you have lost all faith in your own capacity to see and to act. It is your patriotism, your tribalism, that feeling that my country is the highest culture, my flag is sacred, my group is right, which is the poison that divides humanity and is the root cause of all war. All of this, the fear, the belief, the loneliness, the anxiety, the following, the nationalism, this is the content of your consciousness. This is what you are. You are not a beautiful, timeless soul that has fear. You are the fear. You are not a divine spark that has a belief. You are the belief. The content and the consciousness are not two separate things, they are one. And now you see the problem. When you talk about expansion of consciousness, which is what so many people are seeking, what are you actually asking for? You are asking to expand this content. You want to become more self-centered, more knowledgeable, more spiritual, more peaceful, while leaving the fundamental structure of the me completely intact. You want to add a beautiful new room onto a prison cell and call it freedom. This expansion is just a modification of the self, a decorated, more comfortable cage. It is still the movement of thought, creating a higher self, a better me. This is not freedom. This is not a different dimension. Freedom is not an expansion, but a denial. It is the complete and total negation of the entire content of consciousness. It is to see the fear, the belief, the loneliness for what it is, the movement of thought, the response of memory, the past, and in that very seeing, without any choice, without any will, that content dissolves. When you are free of that content, when the mind is no longer imprisoned by the known, then you are in a totally different dimension. Thank you for watching. If this inquiry into the nature of our own minds is valuable to you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel to continue this journey.